Oh, you know it's been a big week. It's been a huge week. However, not only have we seen the price of Bitcoin just go ridiculous and do silly things, I've been wanting robots for a long time, and I finally met one that I think not only could I live with, but maybe they'll just let me have it. Check this one. They're not going to let me have it. This is Valkyrie. This is a NASA robot out at IHMC that we're going to talk about. Humanoid, whole bunch of reasons why it's looking like a humanoid. Also going to talk about Corona.
Cans. This plastic becomes the environment's worst enemy.
That's the thing. We got a problem with plastic. Corona are potentially going to solve this with stackable cans, interlocking cans. You good things. And one that's very, very exciting. If you know this logo, well, what if we could make that logo real? Just like that. That's a legit, it's made from this LED flex. You're going to be talking about that. And AB 1112, a bill that's in the California legislature. We're going to talk about it. All right, here we go. Robot time machine. It's getting a little smoother. Each transition's getting a little smoother. I'm slowly, as I've said before, I have a lot of buttons. And at least now I'm starting to learn like which buttons to press. I now write things like P, which I know is part of promo. I know the cameras that I'm going to. It's getting a little better. It's getting a little better each time. I'm such a fan of this LED sign that I've been making. It's laser cut, so it's pretty much a piece of perspex with then laser cut letters, which even the offcuts of the letters come out looking like an absolute treat. So the part that's not in that sign yet, obviously, is the robot and the face of the robot. And when we talk about faces of robots, oh, that is a real face of a real robot. That is from an Atlas. I'll show you this Atlas walking just for a moment.
Autonomy. And
there he is. This is out at IHMC in Florida in Pensacola. I was there for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at an incredible event, a blue sky session. Really, really, really good times. I'm going to go into a bit about what we were talking about, what was going on there. But the power of it's so ironic. The power of human interaction is so strong that you do miss something when you try and do virtual conferences and things like that. It's just not the same as being in a room. And I just experienced 2 days of being around, I guess, like 30, 35 incredible people. Oh, was there an astronaut there? Yeah, Thomas Jones. Has he been to space? Absolutely. Oh, there is a ridiculous story, actually. So, I'm going to bounce backwards and forwards in telling this. So I'm at this robotics event. And the robotics event, yeah, it has robots such as this. That's the logo right there that you can see. We're going to look at that, but one of the guests of this session, so it was a blue sky session for the future of aviation transport put on by Airbus. It's like a blue sky Airbus session mixed with IHMC, which is the Center for Human. I'm going to actually find out exactly so that I don't mispronounce the way IHMC. The Institute for Human and Machine Cognition. That's IHMC. And so we're there. Now, Thomas Jones is there. I'm going to show you Thomas Jones. Thomas Jones, just a fun fact, has an asteroid named after him. Because, you know, that's don't we all? He's an astronaut, and there's something that occurs being Australian. A lot of people ask me, "Oh, you're Australian. Do you know Jim?" And I'm like, "No, I probably don't. There's 23 million people there." And then they go, "Oh, it's Jim Hobday." And I go, "Oh, no, actually I do. He's a buddy of mine." It's one of those scenarios. I didn't want to ask this astronaut if he knew Story Musgrave. I recently did an event with Story. Story's just a wonder of a human. He's the only human who flew on all space shuttles. I mean, imagine putting that on your LinkedIn. That's actually all you'd write. You'd actually put space shuttle question mark how many, all of them. And that would, or you could actually just write the word all. You wouldn't even need to put space shuttle because people would be like, oh, I see that you've, on your business card, it just says all. What does that mean? You go, well, I've done everything. They go, oh, did you run like the 100 meters in under 5 seconds? No, I flew on all of the space shuttles. You know, oh, that's wildly incredible. So anyway, Story Musgrave was doing an event with him a while ago, and I wanted to ask Tom yesterday whether he knew Story, but I was like, I wonder if that's like asking Australians if they know something. I was like, no, there's only 500 or 600 people who've been to space. I'm sure it's a small alumni. So I said to Thomas, by the way, we were having a conversation. I was like, oh, look, by the way, I just wanted to ask, do you happen to know Story Musgrave? And Tom's response was, Story? Yeah, I know him. I went to space with him. Like, oh, of course you did. Of course you did. Of course you sat in a space shuttle and went to space with him. It blows my mind that there is a very small percent of our population who get to answer questions like that. Imagine being able to say to any question, actually, your response could be, yeah, I went to space with them. Or, yeah, I did that in space. Or even the simple thing, yeah, I went to space. But anyway, why are we talking about this? Because robots were there, robots were everywhere. This is Atlas. So you'll have seen Atlas. It's made by Boston Dynamics, an incredible robot. It's the robot that they keep pushing over. And we somehow need to let the people at Boston Dynamics know, wait, stop it. Stop pushing over the robots. I know why you're doing it, because it's very funny. And look, to be honest, it is what the industry needs. But at the same time, stop being mean to them, because when they come and rise, they're going to come after you first. Then they're probably going to come after all of us. But first, they're going to come after the ones who've thrown them all around. So, I'm going to put my little headphones on so that I can hear the audio, because we're going to have a look at a few of these videos. So the center I was at, IHMC, had just recently moved into a really, really, really nice building. It was sort of in the historic district of Pensacola, Florida. If you haven't been to Pensacola, what a gorgeous spot. Just such a nice place. I got a slight history lesson on it. It was the location of the first landing of apparently the British into United States. So very, very historic. However, one of the things was it didn't last because I think it was a hurricane came through and destroyed the settlement. So in the end, didn't become the major landing spot. But let's take a look at this video here. This is going to be Atlas wandering around. Now, when you see what it's walking on, these are giant concrete, like cinder blocks.
Locomotion task like that.
Oh, this is a bang lift.
The operator sort of managing each individual footstep on where to place the feet.
Have a look at how it just floats in the sky. The reason that they do that, it's suspended to a crane system because these things fall over. It's like buying tickets. These things go down. They bought their tickets, but these things do. They fall over a lot. They're like a kid. And so they fall over a lot. So you can see the cabling system there. It's not just cabling for data and power. It is also a suspension system going up to a giant crane. Now, one of the questions that often comes up about these robots is, do they run on wireless? And the response is they potentially can. However, there's so many things that can just go wrong in general with the instructions that you're sending, that adding wireless connectivity to it is almost like an unnecessary potential error. So a lot of the times, they're cable. That's why there's cables running to these things. And look, the power requirements for this, even if you could throw batteries in there, which you can, that white backpack on its back, you can add batteries into there. The runtime is so low and the power requirements are so spontaneously enormous that, you just run risks. It's not going to last for very long and you run risks. You may think to yourself, but Teslas can drive around for a long time. You're like, yeah, but they're manufacturing lots of those batteries for lots of Teslas, so they've got it really well. Here, there's quite a few of these robots around. However, there's still a high risk with the battery pack at the moment, so that's why they're often run by power.
Along that path. Does not always work, as you just saw. That's why it's research, but that's been our big push, is introducing more autonomy, making the robots faster and more useful.
What you just heard there was one of the staff describing, what they're trying to do. And you can see on screen at the moment the steps that this Atlas is now taking. It's so interesting that it is absolutely modeled after a human. It's completely modeled after it. The articulation, the joints, the degrees of freedom are based from humans. Now, the reason for that is wheeled robots certainly are, I have one that runs around my house for the Roomba. There's so many things that it can't do, though. It can't tackle stairs. It can't. Any form of change in terrain can be a potential major problem for it. Being and a simple ledge. You put a Roomba near a ledge, loses its mind. Poor little thing doesn't know what to do. So there certainly is benefit in trying a bipedal, basically like a human clone. Where it gets really, really interesting is if you take it further down the line and start thinking about the different levels of articulation that you could do. So imagine a shoulder joint that can actually, unlike where we have limitations in the rotation of our shoulder joint, if you had a robot that was modeled and had a modeled shoulder like ours, but actually just had far more rotation, that's a really powerful potential. Here's another shot. This is it walking up the stairs, getting to the top. Yes. Gets to the top of its little stairs. It seems so simple, but it really is so complicated. It's self-balancing. Again, those chains are just there to stop it from falling over if it does.
We're not
I believe I can fly. Every now and then they have to pick it up.
Nice to have super reliant, super robust wireless.
Oh, there he goes. He was just talking about the super robust wireless. There's parts that I didn't record. His comments further on are that it's not their specialty. Wireless connectivity is not their specialty. They're roboticists. They're mechanical engineers. That's their focus. So that's why they just use, I think it was like Cat 6 or something. It was just wired lines. It just removes the complexity. Here's a few more comments.
Because up until that point, NASA had only ever done stuff that was not terrestrial and not land. So this is the first shot of that. It's actually a pretty impressive robot. We've been working with this robot for about 4 years now, on and off. We just recently, I think for about a year now, I've had this one on site more or less permanently. It used to be the sort of thing where we'd have to go out to Texas or it would come here for a couple of weeks, and that really wasn't good.
That's exactly it. These things are so limited that sometimes they had to go to a location. This is actually one of the biggest problems with hardware. There is a real cost, like an enormous cost, to development and testing these things out and trying them, that quite often the access... I just knocked over all of those little cutouts from the main sign over there. There's a real cost to... pick a few of them up. There's a real cost to development that sometimes you have to travel. These guys are lucky enough that they now have on-site robots that they can use. But when you think about a lot of like bedroom coders and so on, and the access that they have to code bases are as simple as going to GitHub and just forking a repo, and then all of a sudden you have an entirely new library. If you want to run the same with a robotics project, you can use ROS, which is a sort of an open source robotics platform where you can do design and development and almost have like a a digital version of Atlas and send programs to it and see what happens to it. But having one in real life is still so important, because the simple fact that a cinder block, you can't forecast exactly how a cinder block will move when you put a giant Atlas robot on it. The physics engines, they're just not good enough. So having a real life robot in your lab is just so important. So it was really cool that these guys have one now. Now the next steps of these are, where do you start going with them? Well, there's a robot on the International Space Station, which is very exciting. There's a robot on the International Space Station. But what is the next level of that? One of the ones that I think is ultra interesting is, if we are going to get to Mars, once we're there, are you going to build things like a human's going to build things? Or could we send robots there and have them build the landscape so that then 50, 100 years later we come over and things are being built? That is potentially what this robot's going to do. As you can see, it's learning to walk is almost where you would describe its current development cycle. It's obviously a lot more advanced than that. But if you relate it to a human, that's the process that we go through. We learn to walk, to talk, and start learning more advanced features. It's kind of at that level at the moment. It's still learning those simple things. Is it coming back? Get that turn. Now that blue light that's on its chest, it has a blue light that is very similar to Iron Man. It's got the NASA logo inside. There is functionality to it. I believe that when it's blue, the motors are being driven, and then when it's red...
You need to get one of those signs that says it.
I'll run this clip again. When it's blue, its motor's being driven. When it's red, I believe it's in standby. One of the things is, its face, it has a mask. Its face actually does do the vision. It looks through its face right there. You've got a LiDAR inside of its face, which is scanning the locations. You can then see like a couple of cameras mounted on its helmet. Potentially it almost looks like they're stereoscopic, or they're parallel cameras, so they're probably doing like 3D. Yeah, but you've got the LiDAR inside its face, then a whole bunch of cameras all around. Look at its shoulder. Its shoulder is absolutely incredible. The articulation and the fact that I reckon that could probably do like 360 or maybe 350 degree turn. It's just, yeah, it's much more than we can do as humans. This is a top-down view of that lab. So it's like a giant open space. Imagine an open space that goes up 3 stories. That's kind of their lab, so they can hoist these robots up. Concrete ground floor. Yes, it somewhat resembles like an auto shop. However, there is a lot more like electronic tools around rather than sort of air guns and so on. You have more pliers and more things to cut cables, solder, and do stuff like that. I'll give you a close-up of what Atlas looks like as a robot. So we're going to see here a scan of its. This is going down the right side, or its left side. So you can see heaps of cabling. But notice its joints are all very similar to a human. You've got the same type of, like, it's bends at the elbow, bends at the knee. Very, very, very similar to a human, which is why, yeah, it's modeled after us. It's hopefully we're going to have them everywhere. I just hope we have them everywhere someday soon. Now, another big thing that I saw this week was Corona have been, I guess you could say all can companies just polluting the earth for a very long time. But there is potentially a solution. This is a prototype that's been run in, I believe it's in somewhere in South America. Check out this video of it. 2, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one here.
Each year, the beverage industry uses more than 17 million tons of plastic to package their cans. This plastic becomes the environment's worst enemy. We needed to remove the plastic in our packs, and we found a solution that fits the problem. Corona presents Fit Packs, cans that fit on each other and fit with the environment. We designed a packaging with an assembly system that is capable of joining up to 10 cans without the need of adding any other material.
En el mundo de la industria de bebidas
In the
han
beverage
existido
industry,
varias
there have been many
soluciones a la
solutions
disminución del plástico,
cutting
pero
back the
ninguna
use
ha
of
terminado de
plastics.
ser
However,
adoptada
none
porque
has been
todas
fully
implican el
adopted
uso de otros
because they
materiales.
require
Esta
use
solución
of
tiene
other. The
una propuesta
solution
muy
has a very
sencilla
simple
que puede
approach.
traer grandes beneficios
That's being,
financieros, pero
great
también
financial benefit
la
thanks to the
eliminación del
complete
uso del
removal of
plástico.
plastic
Amigos,
materials.
esto que tengo en las manos no es una espada.
La gente puede montar su pack como quiera.
People
2
can
packs,
take
3
a pack
packs, 4
and you
packs.
screw
Y
them
ni bolsa
together. 2, 3,
necesitan.
4. I don't even need a bag.
Queremos que esta sea una solución
We want
open
this
source,
solution
que toda
to
la
be
industria
open to
pueda tener
everyone, to the
acceso a los
entire
planes.
industry.
Porque si
So
todos
the
nosotros
entire
nos unimos
industry
con
has
esto,
access
el
to
planeta
this
también
blueprint.
verá beneficiado.
Because if we all join efforts together, we can
The problem we face is as big as 17 million tons. The good news is, we already started to turn that around. Fit Packs.
Now, I love this as a concept. I think this is very, very, very awesome as a concept. So, those of you listening to the podcast, we're talking about a can. Normally, you wrap them in plastic, and so to take a 6-pack of cans home, you have like that classic ring that holds them together. What they've done is almost made the can modular, so you can screw cans together. Which means when you're at the store, if you want 3 cans, you just screw 3 cans together and to create like a sword. They say that this works for up to 10 cans, which is great. When you look at the actual mechanical design of how it works, it's simply like the top of a jar. So the top of the can is almost like the top of a jar, and then the bottom of the can is like the lid of a jar, which is how you can screw 1 together, 2 together, 3 together, 4. Hey, this is wonderful. What a great, great, great concept. And the part that I think is very good that kind of just gets washed by because it's not so much sexy or anything, but when they say opening up the blueprints, I'm assuming what they're actually meaning is not just the blueprints of the can, because yes, whilst that's useful, you can find things like this on Thingiverse. It's not complex. What they need to do is really have an open book policy on the manufacturing level so that can manufacturers can do this. If they've gone into production, which they say they have, then certainly they know how to actually do this through the entire supply chain, which is the most important part. If you haven't seen how an aluminium can is actually made, it is one of the most enjoyable processes you've ever seen. They spin them. Cans are amazing. Cans really are incredible. They're held together through the pressure of the can. The reason they're so strong is vicariously because of what they're carrying. Oh, they're amazing. Go and Google how aluminium cans are made. Do yourself a favor. It's really, really, really cool. So, this sign behind me, that top left-hand sign. So, the sign of the show, if you're listening to this as a podcast, the Robot Time Machine logo that you'll see on iTunes is a neon sign saying Robot Time Machine. I drew this sign up I guess like a week before we went live with the first episode. I created this in Photoshop, and I really, 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 really liked it as a sign. I thought it's a really cool sign. It looks great. And I contemplated, like, what would it look like as a real sign. How would it look? And I think I've lost the. We were interrupted on Facebook. Sorry, we dropped off for a moment on Facebook. Do you know why? Who knows why? Could be a mixture of me pressing the wrong buttons or doing whatever. We will never know. We will never know why. What I think it is obviously for the first part of the show where I was talking about robots. This one, what it probably was is that robot knew that I was talking about it. Talking too much of the truth, talking too much robot truth, maybe came along, tried to shut down the stream. If that's the case, I tell you what, robot, you're going to have to get through me. And how are you going to get through me? You'll probably be fine because you cost like $2 million and you weigh 400 pounds and you're a robot. So you could destroy me. So if that is the case, if the stream was shot down by that robot, let's just carry on and pretend nothing happened. Don't look them in the eye. That's the other trick that I learned. Getting back to this sign. This sign I started making. And it was... Steve helped me. Absolute superstar who many of you know. Whoa, I nearly knocked out the letter M in there. So this sign is a piece of Perspex that has been laser cut. Now the offcuts of that laser cut are here. That's what pops out of it. And then I throw in this stuff called Neon Flex. Inside Neon Flex is a whole line of LEDs. And then when you light them up, it very much looks like neon. Like a neon sign. And I'm going to plug this in and show you up close how it looks. I think it looks so cool, and it removes all of the complexities that come along with making neon signs are completely removed when you use just straight LED. It's powered from 12 volt. Some of the interesting things are, as I went through building it, I learnt more and more where you can cut, and you can only cut like every inch. That's almost like a module. One module is about 1 inch long. There's 3 LEDs and a resistor in there. If you cut one of those LEDs out of a module, it's almost like that module now dies. That 1 inch module needs those, I guess it's like 4 or 5 components. Let's say it's 3 LEDs and a resistor per module. And if you destroy any of those components, then that 1 inch module no longer works. The way I discovered if you have to cut it is you fold it in on itself. And then you end up with much better lighting. So that little, down here, this pink part, it disappears because I didn't fold it in. So it's missing the robot part, but that'll come in time. We'll pop that in time. There we go. Yeah, I'm very, very happy with that. There we go. So that'll hopefully be done soon. We'll finish that. Check out the M. The M came out. The pink line's not in the logo itself. There's no pink line in that one. However, I thought, I'll add it in. Yeah, it's good fun. Anyway, if you ever have questions on like how to make it or anything like that, just send me a message. This is the part that gets me is afterwards you're left with this there we go. That like the offcuts of it are even great themselves. Very cool. All right, there is a bill going through the California government at the moment that's vitally important. Now, a lot of people have ridden scooters. A lot of people love scooters. There's one behind me. There is a problem going on with the scooter industry, though. And it's a problem that's being fought between cities and operators. And what I mean by operators is Bird, Lime, Uber, Lyft. They're the four. They each have hundreds of millions of dollars, and they're everywhere, and they're not really abiding by city rules that often. I think some of them are doing pretty well. Some of them aren't illegally deploying. Bird constantly are illegally deploying. And so if we take just an isolated method of how these companies are getting into different cities, you can say that they come along, they put 250 scooters into a city, they land them on a Tuesday, all of a sudden there's 250 scooters in that city. The city's like, yo, we didn't give you a permit. We told you not to come here, and you just put 200 here. It's usually about 2 weeks before the next city town hall. The city council then has almost like two options. They can put an emergency item on the agenda and speak about it at that town hall, and then they can either just let it go on, or they can come to like an emergency decision, which may be to create a cease and desist letter. There's a few different options, but overall, that then takes, even like a cease and desist, takes about another 2 weeks to actually enact sometimes. So you have a scenario where Bird's operating in a city for maybe 4 weeks. They think they're okay to launch there. The city doesn't think they're okay to launch there. Their scooters then get confiscated, but they've still had the entire community for 4 weeks riding. So then when it comes time to be at town hall again, maybe in 6 weeks' time to be discussed, people have now been riding the scooters in that city for 6 weeks. They know how great they are. So a protest then gets done. That sways the opinion of city council. What I'm trying to say is, it is such a government corporation integration that's going on that it needs more rules set around it that are clearer and that allow for equal access from operators. Because when a city comes along and says, all right, we're going to put a permit in place, but we're going to make it $10 million insurance requirement, small operators can't pay, but the large ones can. So effectively you've created an environment where only the largest of the large can play. You create an exclusive environment for them. So I'm going to show you a bill that is in government at the moment that is a very, very, very important part to this industry. There we go. Check out this camera. That camera angle that you just saw there is, it's like a camera mounted to a lamp. So I'll read the bill, because this is what you're seeing. What you're seeing in the red has been struck from the bill. The blue has recently been added to the bill, and overall, I'm in the wrong view. Let's see. There we go. That's better. That's better. Existing law generally regulates the operations of bicycles, electric bikes, motorized scooters, and electrically motorized boards. Existing law allows local authorities to regulate the regulation, parking, and operation of bicycles and motorized scooters in a manner that does not conflict with state law. This bill, here's where it gets really important about Bill AB 1112 for the scooter industry. The dockless mobility industry. Right now it's scooters. Who knows what it is? Who knows what it is in a couple of years? But this bill is really important, and here is an overview of it. This bill would define a shared mobility device as a bicycle, electric bicycle, motorized scooter, electrically motorized board, or other similar personal transportation device that is made available to the public for shared use and transportation as provided. The bill would require shared mobility devices to include a single unique alphanumeric ID. So think of that as almost like a license plate. The bill would allow a local authority to require a shared mobility device provider to provide the local authority with defined and aggregated trip data. And here's the first edit. Data and operational data, including as a condition for operating a shared mobility device program. So what that is, Uber doesn't have to right now send cities data about their cars. They don't have to send live data about their cars. but cities want live data of every scooter. So much so that LA Department of Transport at one point wanted every 5 seconds telemetry data of every scooter operator. They changed that because it was a crazy requirement. But overall, what that line is saying is that they want data of every single scooter. The bill would prohibit the sharing of individual trip data except as provided by the Electronic Communications Privacy Act. Now, the Electronic Frontier Foundation has been involved in this. They have different views of this, but overall, yeah, it's a privacy concern. This bill, now this red part is why I get a little upset about where the bill has been. Right now, the bill has gone through a few different locations. It is with the Senate Transportation Committee, but it's gone through the Assembly, the Transportation Committee of the Assembly, the Privacy and Communication and Consumer Protection in the Assembly, and and it's had a floor analysis of the Assembly. So it's gone through the Assembly level. It's now at the Senate, and it's been somewhat changed. In the red, I liked what I'm about to read that's been struck. This bill would prohibit a local authority from imposing any unduly restrictive requirements on mobility device providers that have the effect of prohibiting the operation of all shared mobility providers in its jurisdiction. Why would you prohibit? Why would you get rid of that? The bill would allow a local authority to require shared mobility device providers to deploy shared mobility devices in accordance with fleet caps, reasonable insurance and indemnification requirements. I'm going to come back to that. Equitable access requirements and speed limits as a condition of operating a shared mobility fleet. You have to just allow reasonable insurance requirements. Unduly restrictive insurance requirements create exclusive environments, and you can't validate them at the moment. You can't. Here's the thing. Some cities across the US say that you only need $1 to $2 million insurance requirements. Some cities, one of them, LA Department of Transport, said $10 million. Both of them say that it's in the public interest. Well, how do you validate whether it should be 1 or 2 or 10? Why not make it 50? Why not make it 100? If it's purely about the safety of the pedestrians, if it's purely about the safety of the public, why not make it $1 billion? Make it a $10 billion requirement, and therefore no operators can exist. There's no actual data analysis behind this. There's only not even assumptions. All it is a 50-page document goes to City Council for signing, saying that these are the regulations of the permit. City Council doesn't understand the cost that then has upon the operator, and they just sign it off. But they don't realize that they're creating an exclusive environment. So let's continue. The bill would prohibit a local authority from subjecting users of shared mobility devices to requirements more restrictive than those applicable to users of personally owned similar transportation devices. So overall, that's just saying you can't make shared mobility harder and more requirements than if I just owned my own scooter, right? It's not like I have to, if I'm riding a bird scooter, then I have to wear a leather jacket for protection. Whereas if I'm only riding my scooter, I don't have to. You can't. But they scrapped that as well. So it says now, the bill would allow a local authority to enact reasonable regulations on shared mobility devices and providers within its jurisdiction, including but not limited to requiring a shared mobility service provider to obtain a permit. You know that leaving it that open just completely leaves it open for the cities to continually create different requirements across each city. The bill would allow a local authority to ban persons from deploying and offering shared mobility devices for hire on its public right-of-way, subject to the California Quality Act. So this bill is still going through. It's been scratched at the moment from what it was a month ago. That has changed. It's going through the Senate. We'll see where it's at in time. Look, obviously, these things change. These things are different ones. Trying to get back here we go. Tom Jones, I wanted to show you the photo of the astronaut from before. There he is. Hooray! Absolute superstar. So, that's where it's at now. What's going on with Bitcoin at the moment? Well, it's being ridiculous. It's always being ridiculous. But it's not often that it's this ridiculous. The 1 month growth is 50%. If I take to the peak, you're talking like 68% over 1 month. If we take from even just back in March, it's 196% delta since back in April. Now, many people are saying many different things as to the reasons of this. And literally, it's magic internet money. So don't think that someone knows what or why. It's just, yeah, there's whales involved, and a whale's someone who comes along and just dumps a whole lot of money in and can move the market. What I wanted to show you here is just, I don't know, look, this is what it is. Don't listen to a word that I say around what to do with Bitcoin. Please don't. But if you were interested in some fun things that you can do, right now, there are daily 10% deltas. And I'm talking like, these are happening over the course of like an hour or two. And what does that mean? That means within, if I create this as a 1 hour stick, that there is an amplitude of 15%. Now, sure, it's a negative 15%, but that's a delta of 15% in 1 hour. Another at 8%, another at 6.5%. In the past 2 hours, we've seen we've effectively seen like a 15% swing. Now, the reason that I wanted to bring this up is I think a lot of people constantly are thinking about these markets in the long term, and that's absolutely one way to look at it. But I was just thinking, like, maybe sometimes every now and then, just look at it on an hourly level, just and just think about those swings. There's 15% swings that are happening over the course of a couple of hours. I don't know, if you're just looking for something fun to do while you're watching TV, maybe go to Binance, get yourself an account. I don't know what the rules are about saying any of this. I'm not too sure. But there's certainly fun to be had in just trying to watch out for those 10% swings. Take 3% swings. You're only paying like a 0.1 to 0.6% commission for trades. So even if you pull 3% swings, you're still getting a little bit of profit. And it's damn good fun. But overall, what is going on with the market? Look, don't listen to people. No one knows. Some people are saying it's because of Libra. It's magic internet money. Right? It's magic internet money. That's fundamentally what's going on. Sure, the market activity has changed. We've absolutely changed from bear to bull. It's all of those things, but you can't isolate it down. It's because there's no annual general report that gets issued for this thing. There's no shareholders meeting where a profit is just announced and all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, we had a great Q1. No, this thing is completely open. This is over the course. Each stick is 1 hour. Here's something that I find really interesting at the moment as well. If you look at this on a depth chart, we're in a space where it's wild right now because all the orders that sat around for so long have all been eaten. Look at the size of these walls that are occurring. It's just, you're going to get 3% swings purely because the orders at the moment have all been gobbled up on each side. This is also happening with Ethereum right now. These orders are in a... When a low gets bought out and the high gets bought out, and so say for instance Ethereum, we're sitting around the $300 mark over the next hour, that is going to fluctuate from 297 to 303. You can just guarantee it. And the reason you can guarantee it is because you can drop it down into minute marks and you can see Here's the crazy part. I've been doing this live broadcast for 45 minutes now, and I haven't been watching Binance. However, you can just tell in these very unique moments of time, which we are in immediately right now, there is just going to be these swings. And as I said, from 303 down to, well, it even went down to 294. That's a $10 difference. That's a $10 difference. It's a wild time. It's an absolutely wild time. These don't come about all that often. They come about when there's been huge amounts of volume, and it's bought all of the outstanding orders that have been sitting there for a while. So it's a really interesting time. I reckon you've got like another couple of days of somewhat predictable sub 10% to 5% swings that are watchable, I guess you could say. But overall, don't listen to a word I say when it comes to this. Just do what you want. That's really it. Don't listen to people when it comes to it, because no one knows. No one knows. There is opinions. There's opinions, and just follow the opinions of those who you believe in. That is the most ridiculously pointless statement there. It's crazy. But yeah, it's an interesting one. Binance is a fun site to check out. It's really good. It's got some great features. Crazy things going on with tokens being dropped off because the FEC's coming in and creating some incredible regulation. Let's look at 1 minute sticks. Oh my God. 294. That really is... I'm just going to look at the last 30 minutes since I've been on and see what delta swing we've had. 3% change. Just in the past half an hour. 3% change. And somewhat predictable. Anyway, you cheeky things. Anyway. It's even higher. That's only an averaged 3%. There's been... yeah. So... what things have I got coming up at the moment? There's been New York next month. Oh, 4th of July. 4th of July. If you're in Santa Monica, come along to the 4th of July parade on Main Street. We're doing a run of the desk along for the 4th of July parade. It's going to be going all the way along Main Street. It'll be a blast. I can almost guarantee it'll be lots of what's it called? It's basically Glory Days by Bruce Springsteen will be played over and over and over. That's a lot of what will be happening there. It'll be great fun. It'll be really, really fun. That's 4th of July. I need to email them. I've just remembered. I need to write that down. I need to email them and find out 4th July. I think it begins around 9 a.m., but I've got to find out those specific details. I think I'm going to drive around on the desk this weekend as well. I think I'm out with Kyle on Saturday or Sunday. We'll go for a drive. But 4th of July weekend, that'll be great fun. Very, very cool. I'll keep you updated with what's happening on AB 1112, because that'll be cool. This light behind me, one of the other things. Look, lots of people have this now, but if you don't have your house wired up as such as this, Alexa, turn everything off. You need to start tying in lights to your Alexa system. It's just people think that a lot of the time, like, these things are not as useful as they could be. No, they really, really are. One of the biggest benefits I have of voice-controlled lights, and even just like app-controlled lights, such as that one that just went on then, Alexa, turn everything on, is that you can. The most important one, I think, is going to bed at night, and then you just jump into bed And if you've only got like one Alexa and she's in the lounge room, you can yell from your bedroom and say like, turn everything off, and she'll hear the lights. But if you have like an Alexa tap, then you can press it, have it next to your bed. That's how I do it. It's so handy because walking to the bedroom, you know, I don't have light switches. I live in a Californian apartment where there was a period of time where they didn't install lights into apartments. And this sounds absolutely crazy, but for some reason it's the case. They put lights in the kitchen, they put lights in the hallways, but the lounge room, the dining room, and places like that, they didn't install lights. I think it was because it was probably the thugs in the lighting industry wanting you to purchase their lights and then put them there, and maybe that's why they didn't do it. But there really isn't that many lights around. Like my bedroom doesn't have a light in it. There's no installed light. We had to put lamps in, but there's no actual installed light. It's crazy. So, over time, putting lights into places and things like that is, I mean, it's a little harder, but then just having the ability to turn them on and off as you come in and out of your room, it's ultra helpful. It's ultra handy. Alexa's great. One of the things I love to listen to is, Alexa, play Gold 104.3 on TuneIn. I'm such a fan of a radio station back in Australia called Gold. They just play I really like the songs that they play. Alexa, turn the volume to 5. Oh, in excess. Alexa, turn the volume to 10. Here's why I love Gold. I mystify. You're my aspiration. She's my only one. Ha! Oh, Alexa. I'm stuck now. I can't turn her off. Alexa. This is the one problem of turning it up too loud. I can't turn it off now. Alexa. There. Okay. There is the user experience that's wrong. Once you turn up the tunes too loud, Alexa can no longer hear you, and you can't turn it down. No, and now of course she can hear me too much. But the joys of it, if you haven't got one, you really should get one. Start with the music and then move into light switches and things like that. It's really cool. All right, well, as I said, Thursday, what day is 4th of July, actually? 4th of July, 2019. I think it's Thursday. Alexa, stop. I can still subtly hear In Excess playing. 4th of July is Thursday in 2019. So next Thursday, come along to Main Street in Santa Monica. It's going to be a blast. We'll have the desk out, as I said. Lots of Bruce Springsteen. We will be sneaking in a lot of In Excess as well, because it's bipartisan. It's all about, bilateral diplomacy. Yeah, that's what it's all about. I'm trying to think. Oh, Greg, how you doing, buddy? Ask Alexa. Let me see. It genuinely does a surprising good at that. And yeah, it really was a Bill Gates demo moment, wasn't it? I'm glad that there is no corporate backing from Amazon for me to promote this thing. It was just trying to describe how great that device is. I know if I say, actually I can whisper it, how great Alexa is. But there is those moments, yeah. You turn it up way too loud and all of a sudden you're like, nah. Cannot be heard. But they are great fun. Here we go. Here's your thoughts on BTC. So the Facebook Libra announcement, the whales jumped in, the masses jumping in, whales cashed out, momentum collapsed, masses pulled out. I 100% agree with you. I absolutely agree and these moments, they're great fun they're great if you're a fan of just sort of trading on deltas It's a really wonderful time. It's an absolute, because you just got crazy volatility within a range that's somewhat predictable. Damn good fun though. That's ultimately it. Only have fun with it. Only have fun with it. Why? Because it's magic internet money. Now, what else we got? Oh, I stream on Twitch when I'm building this sign in the background. So if you're on Twitch, jump on by Robot Time Machine. Really fun conversations on Twitch, actually. I watch a lot on Twitch, but I only started talking on Twitch recently, and it's really good fun. Like, just such, it's interesting, the conversations and the speed at which how Twitch works. I don't know. A lot of people don't use Twitch and don't play it because it seems like chaos, which there is an element of that. But if you've never had time, or if you've never spent time playing around on Twitch, go and have a look. Go and find, like, if you're a fan of like Zelda or something, go and check that out and just see how things operate over there. Really interesting landscape. Very, very fun. All right. I think we have come to the end. I'll just make sure that there's we covered everything. All of the each week, as I mentioned, getting a little bit better at pressing all these buttons. How do they work? Like that. And go across, see the videos. Valkyrie doing a dance. Doing your little robot dance, Valkyrie. Oh, hey. Yes. Hopefully, I mean, we're going to Mars. That's the thing. That's happening. So, hopefully Valkyrie, or Valkyrie's descendants, will go along and build things for us before we get there. I love the fact that they put a NASA logo in there. Totally unnecessary.
You need to get one of those signs that says it.
Totally unnecessary to put that logo there. I thought for a second, while I was looking at the robot I don't know whether you noticed that then, I got distracted by, there was something on my chest, and I was like, have I turned into a robot for the moment? Have I got a logo, a NASA logo on me? As I said, that it actually is a functional logo. The blue is for when the motors are being driven. It's red in like a standby state. So it's kind of describing how, what status it's in. Boston Dynamics, Atlas, crazy fun robot, falling over. That's a cinder block that you just saw it knock over. It's hoisted up. Every time I see that, I believe I can fly, it runs through my head. But think about how heavy a cinder block is, yet it just casually knocks it over. These things are like 400 pounds. They're very, very, very strong robots. I still want one. Can't I just have one? Oh, here we go. I asked people before they knew about it, to be inquired for 1 billion if they thought the site that allows you to watch people play games was a good idea. No one said yes. Isn't that almost like so much of life, where they only said that they didn't like it as an idea because they didn't understand it. And so therefore so many people sort of shoot down ideas because they don't have intrinsic knowledge of it or real life experience. Twitch is huge. Twitch is amazing. Twitch is just, you're absolutely right. $1 billion was a bargain. That site, the way that they have monetized Twitch is remarkable. They worked out the ads that you get delivered on Twitch are the most on point, honest integrations that I've ever seen. You never, maybe rarely, you rarely get shown a pre-roll, a mid-roll, a bump out. You rarely get shown any ads that aren't things that you want to see anyway. Video games, fast food, like just a lot of advertisers realize that if you get Twitch right, it's ultra powerful. And so they create content specifically for it. It's so great. And then creators on there have direct path of monetization from their audience. Just instantaneous donations. It's wild to see how quickly they got it, and the entire ecosystem just grew, and it's so nice. I think it's great. I think it's cool. Some of the channels there's also just chat channels in there. It's not just games. Like, yeah, there's a maker section where I go, and while I'm building this, the way that I literally do it is I get out my soldering iron. I have my soldering iron here, and we'll just sit here and chat and solder circuits and then can play games every now and then and chat to people. Wild stuff. All right. Well, we're about to hit the 1 hour mark, which means it's the end of the show. I don't have an outro song yet. I've just realized I need some form of outro song. Maybe I'm going to work out an outro song. You know what I should do first is create a way to make this actually easier. I'll hold this screen up to see whether you can. There's no real way to show. Oh, here we go. I'm going to show you what I look at while I'm streaming. This is the software that I use in order to stream. Where are we? Very hard to see which way's up and which way's down. There we go. This is the software that I use to stream. And so I can see like a preview. I see the output. Here's the control panel. So getting a little bit better, always making it way too complex for my own good. But we'll get there. We'll get there. Oh, blinded by a light now. All right, there we go. Robot Time Machine comes to you on Facebook, on my page, and then I need to start shifting it over to its own Robot Time Machine page, but need to build that up there. YouTube, Robot Time Machine, it's the old Tomorrow Show page, and iTunes. We're now live on iTunes in the podcast section, and on Twitch. Robot Time Machine across all of them. Instagram has Robot Time Machine. I put sort of behind the scenes content on Instagram. Twitch has building stuff. That's all of it. Oh, Scott, dang, I always get notified an hour late. Oh, my friend, I do apologize. I'm sorry it takes... The notification systems inside Facebook and YouTube are drastically different. As soon as I set up the live show on YouTube, it sends the notification out, which I don't like because it takes about 30 minutes to get everything prepped. I know there's a better way to do it. Just can't work it out at the moment. And then Facebook just seems to randomly send out notifications. There's no button that I can press. Oh, I can set reminders. If I schedule it, then maybe I'll start scheduling. Oh, and the software is called vMix. VMIX. Absolutely incredible. It is ultra powerful. The complexity that comes around with having something ultra powerful makes it difficult to use. It's certainly not like OBS or XSplit, Xstream, or any of those where it's a lot simpler. But the things that you can do, I love having the ability to cut through and create title sequences like that, or go lengthways such as that, or just go like that. I forgot that picture was there. This was from Twitch the other day. Where is it? I've got to angle my head like that. Oh, yeah. There we go. Oh, that's anyway ridiculous. All right. Coeur d'Alene. I will be in Coeur d'Alene again. Next time I'll be keynoting Young Inventor of the Year. Oh, I'm pretty sure I'll be doing Young Inventor of the Year next year for Idaho, which is held in Moscow. And so pass through. I never have time to stop by. But I'm back out doing a bit more stand-up than I have been doing that I have been doing recently. I stopped for a very long time. So if I can start working out a way to tie that back into my life, I may be able to get out and start doing clubs. And I know that there's some great spots in Spokane, and if I can tie those things in. Anyway, that's long term, because it's a whole another project that I'm working on. But most likely, we'll be hosting Young Inventor of the Year in Idaho again next year. So that'll be the next time. All right. This is, Bryce. Well, hello, Bryce. How are you? You need to come out to Mojave and check out a certain plane. I certainly do. You would have loved where I was at for the past 2 days. I was with Thomas Jones, Astronaut, absolute superstar. He was just fantastic. We had Max. I forget his last name. It was Max. He's an Australian. He used to work for SpaceX as well. And now he's on his own. He's ex-JPL as well. There was a bunch of JPL. Let me get the book. I should have done this from the start. This is the list of people who were at this conference that I was at. Like, just some of the most legitimately incredible people. Absolutely amazing. But I want to read you, like, Thomas Jones's bio: scientist, author, pilot, veteran NASA astronaut. How's that for just like an opening line as your history? Max's last name, Vozov. Max Vozov. Yeah, he was an absolute legend. Brian Wilcox of JPL. This man is a superstar. I want to highlight Brian Wilcox for a moment. I want to read you this. Brian Wilcox was the supervisor of the Robotic Vehicles Group at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory for over 20 years. Can I read that line again? Was the supervisor of the Robotic Vehicles Group at NASA's JPL for over 20 years. I sat chatting to... He's so great. He's so absolutely awesome. It was great fun. That group was responsible for the control and navigation of the Soyuz rover that explored part of Mars in '97, including design of the electronics and navigation sensors and development of the control systems. This entire book is just full of wildly impressive people. It was great fun. I had so much fun out at IHMC. All right. Well, it is time. Thank you so much for sticking around and watching this. Where am I? Come along to 4th of July parade. Why they let an Australian in? Because I snuck in? No, that's what it's all about. It's inclusion. Bring Australians into 4th of July. So 4th of July in Santa Monica on Main Street. We'll be driving along in the desk. Next show, I'll be talking about some crazy advancements that we may be doing with the desk and the ridiculous stuff that we'll be able to do. Make sure to get out there and buy yourself a meme bag, memebag.co. Why? Because I make them and you should buy them. That's why. Is this it's so funny. One of the questions that you actually have to write, there we go. Look at that. That's my scooter company, Cloud. That's the dock. It's the dock. One of the questions that you have to answer on YouTube is all around, like, do you have paid advertisements? Now, the funny thing about this is, technically it's not a paid advertisement because I own the company. And I'm not paying myself to say this, but it is an ad. So I don't know whether to press yes or no. Go to Amazon and buy groupie sticks. As many of you know, I owned a selfie stick company many years ago and still have a lot of stock of it. So please go to Amazon and buy them. They're very cheap there. They're very, very cheap. I think they're like $5 or something now. Looks like an Apple product. How gorgeous is that? All right. This is it. This is the end. It has been a pleasure to have you here. My name is Gray Bright. This is Robot Time Machine. Check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, podcasts on iTunes. We'll be coming to Stitcher soon. So if you're listening to this in the future, that was the past. We weren't on Stitcher right now, but in the future we will be. Thank you very much. I'll say bye-bye. I'll see you again soon. Robot Time Machine. Bye.